How to control your emotions with Aristotle's philosophy. Emotions are an inevitable and important part of our human experience. They can enrich our lives, but they can also cause us problems, especially when they are excessive, inappropriate, or irrational. How can we manage our emotions in a healthy and ethical way? One possible answer can be found in the philosophy of Aristotle, who lived in ancient Greece in the 4th century BCE. Aristotle was one of the most influential thinkers in the history of Western civilization, and he had a lot to say about emotions and ethics. In this article, we will explore some of his main ideas and how they can help us control our emotions. Aristotle's view of emotions. According to Aristotle, emotions are not just feelings or sensations that happen to us. They are also cognitive and evaluative responses to things that matter to us. For example, when we feel angry, we are not just experiencing a physical disturbance, but we are also judging that someone has wronged us or violated our rights. When we feel happy, we are not just feeling pleasure, but we are also appreciating something good or valuable. Aristotle also recognized that emotions have different kinds and degrees. He distinguished between passions, which he called path, which are involuntary and depend on external causes, and virtues, which he called arete, which are voluntary and depend on internal dispositions. Passions are emotions like fear, anger, pity, envy, joy, and sadness. Virtues are emotions like courage, justice, generosity, Aristotle's view of ethics. Aristotle's ethics is based on the idea that the ultimate goal of human life is happiness, which he called eudaimonia, which is not a mere feeling or state of mind, but a complete and lasting activity of the soul in accordance with reason and virtue. Happiness is not something that can be given or taken away by external factors, but something that depends on our own choices and actions. To achieve happiness, we need to develop both intellectual and moral virtues. Intellectual virtues are the excellences of the rational part of the soul, which enable us to understand the truth and make good decisions. Moral virtues are the excellences of the non-rational part of the soul, which enable us to control our passions and act in accordance with reason. Aristotle argued that moral virtues are not innate or fixed, but learned and flexible. They are habits or states of character that we form by repeatedly performing virtuous actions in different situations. For example, we become courageous by facing dangers when it is appropriate. We become generous. Aristotle's view of the mean. One of the most famous concepts in Aristotle's ethics is the doctrine of the mean. According to this doctrine, every moral virtue is a mean or a balance between two extremes, excess and deficiency. For example, courage is a mean between cowardice and rashness. Generosity is a mean between stinginess and wastefulness. Friendliness is a mean between flattery and quarrelsomeness. The mean is not a fixed or universal quantity, but a relative and variable one. It depends on the person, the situation, and the circumstances. What is courageous for one person may be rash for another. What is generous for one situation may be wasteful for another. What is friendly for one circumstance may be flattery for another. The mean is determined by reason and practical wisdom, which is the ability to judge what is appropriate and beneficial in each case. How to control your emotions with Aristotle's philosophy. Based on Aristotle's philosophy, we can derive some practical guidelines on how to control our emotions. Recognize that emotions are not just feelings, but also judgments. Try to identify what you are judging as good or bad, right or wrong, fair or unfair in each emotion. Ask yourself if your judgment is true or false, reasonable or unreasonable, based on facts or assumptions. Evaluate your emotions in light of your ultimate goal of happiness. Ask yourself if your emotion is conducive or detrimental to your happiness and well-being. Does it help you achieve your goals and values? Does it enhance or harm your relationships with others? Does it improve or impair your character? Adjust your emotions according to the mean. Ask yourself if your emotion is too much or too little for the situation. Is it proportional or disproportionate to the object or cause? Is it suitable or unsuitable for the person and the time? Try to find the appropriate degree of emotion that is neither excessive nor deficient, but moderate and reasonable. Cultivate your moral virtues through practice and habituation. Try to perform virtuous actions that express and reinforce your moral virtues. For example, act courageously when you face a danger. Act generously when you have an opportunity to give. Act friendly when you interact with others. Avoid actions that express and reinforce your vices. For example, do not act cowardly when you should stand up for yourself. Do not act stingily when you should share. Do not act quarrelsome when you should be respectful. Seek guidance from your intellectual virtues and practical wisdom. Try to improve your knowledge and understanding of yourself, others, and the world. Learn from your experiences, observations, and reflections. Seek advice from wise and virtuous people. Use your reason and logic to evaluate your emotions and actions. Apply your practical wisdom to judge what is best for you and others in each situation. Conclusion. Aristotle's philosophy offers us a rich and comprehensive framework for understanding and controlling our emotions. By following his insights and advice, we can learn to manage our emotions in a way that is ethical, rational, and beneficial for our happiness and well-being.